Good afternoon. Today I want to tell you about why I am a lawyer. I have 5 primary reasons I want to tell you about. Let me begin by saying I've always enjoyed learning. I was one of those weird kids who always enjoyed school and always was fascinated with the things I did not know and how much more was out there for me to learn or be aware of. It was just fascinating to me. I've never thought of myself as the smartest person in the room, or that I knew more than anybody else, or that I was finished learning. So the practice of law and being a lawyer played nicely into that love of learning. When I represented people and tried lawsuits, I had to learn so much about a wide variety of topics. For example, when I represented parents, I had to learn about psychology, mental and emotional and physical conditions, parental alienation. I had to learn about taxes and tax returns. I had to learn about retirement and investment accounts. I had to learn how to value businesses and real estate and personal property. When I was in construction law, I had to learn about how to construct buildings and learn the reasons why they might collapse. I had to learn about drywall and how to put it up properly and what it looks like when you put it up improperly. I had to learn about how to construct roads, what makes a bumpy road, what makes a smooth road. In the personal injury practice, I had to learn about the muscles and the bones of the body and various medical conditions and how to do a differential diagnosis and what a doctor goes through to do one. Now notice, I've not said one word about the law or the various subjects of the law, or the various types of lawyers that there are. So the first and maybe foremost reason for being a lawyer for me is my love of learning. I get to learn so much and continue to learn so much about a wide variety of subjects, old and new things. The second reason for me being a lawyer is that I could help people. I've always loved to help people. I got into psychology in the first place because I wanted to help people, but I hated psychology in graduate school, and especially at the University of Oklahoma in graduate school, because they focused on the experimental side of psychology. They focused on the study of animals, not human behavior and not human beings. And I did not want to spend the rest of my life learning about chimpanzees and whether or not they would teach their offspring sign language. I'm not kidding either. The third reason, when I was in the Air Force, I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. My thoughts about psychology then were such that I rejected it as a profession. I did not want people to pay me to be their friend and to talk to me. I did not see how I could help them, especially if they did not want to help themselves. To me, psychology was the purchase of friendship. Now, several decades later, I see that that was horribly unfair. That's a horrible indictment of a necessary field. So don't take my indictment or my dismissal of psychology to heart, a dismissal and an indictment that I made as a 20-year-old. Continuing with the third reason is I could help people make important decisions about important matters. About the time I was in the Air Force, I was watching Watergate hearings almost daily. And those hearings had a profound effect upon me. I saw lawyers being lawyers and asking questions and eliciting information, quizzing other lawyers by asking questions. And it occurred to me that lawyers were making important decisions about important matters. And this also occurred at the time when I was a second lieutenant as a base housing officer, where millions of dollars of assets were under my control and care, and 100 employees were under, they were folks for whom I was responsible, folks that were both civilian or military. And I felt at that time like I was making important decisions about unimportant matters or unimportant decisions about important matters. And so I wanted to get into an area where I would make important decisions about important matters. And I think that's the practice of law. How much more important can you get when you're making decisions about your children, your family, or life and death matters? The fourth reason I am a lawyer is my love of speaking and writing. I have a love of expressing myself through writing and articulating my thoughts orally, whether to large or small groups. As far back as I can remember, teachers and various adults complimented me on my writing ability. For example, in the 3rd and 4th grades, I remember we had to write short stories, and the teacher and students picked the best ones to be read in front of the rest of the class. Well, my classmates always seemed to want me to read one of my stories and read them aloud, and the teachers willingly complied. The first time I ever spoke in front of a large audience was as a boy of 10 years old, as I remember. Public speaking really didn't rattle me. I remember for some reason I was invited to say an opening prayer before a men's group. And I said the opening prayer in front of maybe 150 men. And I don't remember too much more about that meeting or the group, except to say that I was invited back the next year to do the very same thing, say the opening prayer. As a practicing lawyer then, I get to speak and write almost daily in a wide variety of contexts and in a wide variety of situations. The fifth and final reason I'm a lawyer is I wanted to help the reputation. I've always loved and admired Abraham Lincoln. Honest Abe was a lawyer. He is second to none in the practice of law and doing so at its highest level of integrity and honesty. And giving the practice of law the kind of name and reputation that it ought to have. This affected me as I watched the Watergate hearings. So many lawyers were being prosecuted and indicted and getting into trouble. I thought, wow, the practice of law is sort of like the Marines. They could use a few good men. So I wanted to help the reputation of the legal profession. Now, I don't know that I ever reached that goal, but I certainly aspired to do so and continued to aspire to do so. So, the practice of law, 1, keeps me learning new things all the time. 2, it allows me to help people. 3, The practice allows me to make important decisions about important matters. Fourth, the practice allows me to write and speak almost daily in a wide variety of contexts and situations. And fifth, it provides me a way of helping the legal profession and the image of the profession. Now, I know Shakespeare is often quoted famously with his passage from Henry VI that says, "First, let's kill all the lawyers." Well, I certainly hope I'm not one of those. But let me substitute my favorite proverb for Shakespeare's line. Proverbs 12:15 goes something like this. The way of a fool seems right to him, but a wise man listens to advice. Well, I hope I give good advice and that it's listened to. Have a great day. I love you.